Welcome to Panels and Borders. I'm Dominic, and this is another episode of Road to Dune. So there's a bit of some Dune news that kind of slipped under my radar, and I'm going to cover two different stories in this video. One is video game news, and the other one is toy-related news. So first I'll cover the video game news. New Dune game still in pre-production will be evolution of Conan Exiles. This article is from PSU. Funcom has dropped off a few new details on the next installment in the Dune franchise, revealing the highly anticipated title is currently in pre-production stage and does not yet have a release date. The studio made the comments during its Q3 financial conference call, where the project was described as a premium game. Hoy Casais and Stian Dragset, who serve as Funcom's CEO and CTO respectively, said that the company is aiming to achieve something bigger and better than what it delivered with Conan Exiles. It'll be an evolution of what Conan Exiles is, but with Dune and something bigger and better. We're leveraging a lot of know-how and experience on the programming, design, and art side. We're doing things heavily based on what we've learned from the game. Some things are a direct reuse, some things are not. Dune was announced back in early 2019, where it was confirmed that Funcom's partnership with Legendary spans 6 years and includes a minimum of 3 games for PC and consoles. Kasai said at the time, "We are very excited to announce an exclusive gaming partnership with Legendary Entertainment to develop a line of video games based on the works of Frank Herbert's Dune. Dune is one of the world's best-known science fiction universes and a personal favorite of mine. To work on Dune games is a dream come true for many of us in Funcom." So, I don't know anything about the game Conan Exiles. I have no clue if it's any good. I don't know anything about it. But I haven't played a Dune-based video game in a really long time. The last one I played was Dune... I think it's Emperor Battle for Dune was the last one. It was a sequel to Dune 2000, but it wasn't as good as Dune 2000 in my opinion. Just something about it wasn't, I don't know what it was lacking. I really can't put my finger on it, to be honest, but it just wasn't as addictive, where I loved Dune 2000. I played that game like over and over and over and over again. Now I missed out on Dune for PC back in the day, and also Dune 2. I never played either one of those, but I'd like to take a crack at it someday if I can get them on some kind of emulation or something like that. It'd be cool. So interesting news. So I really like to see what Funcom comes up with as far as games go. What I'd like to see them come out with is another real-time strategy game would be cool. Something like that would be awesome. And there's a lot of ways you can go with the world of Dune. So on to the next thing I want to cover is Funko Pops. So they're going to be releasing Funko Pops based on Dune 1984. So now this was announced back in October, but I looked on Amazon.com and Amazon.ca, and I don't see them on there, so I'm not sure if they've been released yet or not. So this one is obviously Paul Atreides, and he's got the blue within blue eyes. And the other one that's being released is Fade Rautha. So I guess these are going to be the first two. There's going to be more following these two. Now, the one that has been released so far was Fade Rautha with his famous underwear. That was a New York Comic Con 2019 exclusive. So as far as Funko Pops go, they're a little bit controversial. It seems odd that they would be, but they kind of are. And I've come across two certain types of attitudes as far as these Funko Pops go. So I myself am not against collecting Funko Pops. So here is 3 Funko Pops that I own. So one is Rocket Raccoon, and that was a gift that was given to me one Christmas by some friends. And then the middle one, the Swamp Thing, is actually one that I sought out. And it's one of the reasons why I like Funko Pops, and I'll get to that in a minute. And then the last one was Scarlet Witch, which I found at like a Value Village for like $2. So $2 is practically like free. So the thing about the Funko Pops and what the two things I've found that why they're controversial is one, among toy collectors, just see them as they're like a low quality, low sculpting. Like there's not a lot of creativity put into them, and they're just a cash grab on nostalgia. That's the one thing people said they don't like them, because there's not a lot of artistry gone into them. They're not really sculpted all that great. They're low on detail. They're very cartoony looking, and they're a fad. And now the other thing I've heard of why people don't like them is because basically Fun Pops are something that I'm going to use a term that I don't hear anymore, and I haven't heard in a long time, so it's going to date me. It's something that posers use to look like authentic geeks. Like, so if you're a poser and you don't know anything about pop culture, you don't know anything about geekdom, you can buy some of these and kind of fake it, I guess. There are a lot of people use them to fake it that they're geeks, or they're, into pop culture, stuff like that. I've heard that too. Like a lot of people say that they're used by people who are posers. Poser geeks, I guess. Just because they're so popular and they're so, like, they're everywhere. Like, I see them everywhere. They're in Walmart, they're in the bookstores. When I go to the comic expos, they're like literally walls of these things. Now, I both like and dislike them. So the one thing that I dislike about them is just that I see them so much and that they are a fad. And when I go to the expos, like, they take up so much room and there's so many of them. Like, it kind of gets annoying after a while, just because they're so proliferate, and it's just like a fad that, like, you just like to see kind of either simmer down or die off. But now the one thing I do like about them, because obviously there is something I like about them since I own 3 of them, is there are certain properties that don't have a lot of merchandise tied to them. So like Star Wars, you can get anything that you can think of with Star Wars slapped on it. And same thing with Star Trek, or anything Marvel and DC, or Batman and Superman. So you can get like a million different versions of Batman in a Funko Pop. But you can also get endless amounts of Batman action figures and mugs and everything like that. But there are certain characters that don't have a lot of merchandise tied to it. And one of those characters is Swamp Thing. So that's why I bought that Swamp Thing Funko Pop. Because there's not really a lot of Swamp Thing action figures. There's not really a lot of merchandise for Swamp Thing, because he's not like Batman or Superman. He's not super popular. So when I saw that, I'm a big fan of Swamp Thing. I love the Swamp Thing comics, especially like the Alan Moore stuff is my favorite. And he's like one of my favorite DC characters. So the reason why I bought it, well, a Funko Pop, it's a Swamp Thing, but a Swamp Thing merchandise, and there's not a lot of it. So the good thing about it, Funko Pops, and this is a plus towards them, is you can get everything in the form of a Funko Pop, which is good, because if there's something that you're into that doesn't have a lot of merchandise tied to it, a good example is Dune. Dune doesn't. Not like when you compare it to Star Wars and Star Trek, not even close. So it's cool that they're doing the 1984 film in Funko Pop form. So at least if you're a fan of the film, there's something for you to collect based on that movie. So that's the good thing about it. Now, the flip side of that, what I would much, much rather see, and I would much, much rather own than Paul Atreides Funko Pop based on the 1984 Dune film, is a NECA action figure based on Paul from the 1984 Dune. Because when you look at what NECA does to movie-based properties, like here's the Xenomorph alien, like the detail is just mind-blowing. And here, if you look at that Predator, like that's really a cool-looking action figure. And here again with Jason Voorhees. Now you look at those, and then you come back to this, and you can kind of understand why collectors are like. It's cool that they're bringing out this, but I would rather collect a NECA version of Paul Atreides or Fade Rautha. If they came up with a line of NECA action figures based on a 1984 Dune film, that would be really awesome. And then they can complement that with the new film that's coming out in 2020. Like, I'd like to see NECA get the license to do action figures based on that. That would be really awesome. Because I've seen one, I'm not sure who did it. I don't know if it was NECA, but it was a NECA style action figure, and it was of the Baron, and I seen it a long time ago in some obscure toy shop. But I've never seen anything else like related to Dune besides that, and besides the initial action figure that they tried to launch to tie into the movie in the early 80s. But now there's a market for this kind of thing now, these super detailed, accurate action figures that NECA does based on film franchises. So this is something that I think would sell. If these Funko Pops would sell, they would definitely sell. So that's my take. That's my take on the whole Funko Pop thing. So it's cool we're getting Dune merchandise, but I hope these aren't the only things. I hope we get some NECA figures based on these things. That would be really cool. So that's everything I got to say in this video. Let me know what you think in the comment section, and I will see you at the next one. Thank you to all of my subscribers, and thank you for watching this video. And if you're new to the channel, like, subscribe, and share. And don't forget to hit the bell icon for notification when new videos are uploaded.